To the Middle East now, and the latest on the Israel-Hamas war. The United Nations Secretary General has urged an urgent plea. Antonio Guterres says too many civilians are dying in Gaza from a lack of food and medicine, but also from the dangerous conditions that exist as they are being forced to search for aid in a war zone.
A handful of medical supplies finally crossed into Gaza earlier this week, the first from the UN in months. But this only underscores the vast scale of the crisis. A trickle of aid is not enough. What is needed now is a surge. The trickle must become an ocean. We need concrete action so aid can reach all people swiftly, at scale, wherever they are. Any operation that channels desperate civilians into militarized zones is inherently unsafe. It's killing people. It's time for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, the immediate and unconditional release of all hostages, and full, safe and sustained humanitarian access.
That danger Guterres was referencing has taken more lives in the past 48 hours. Israeli airstrikes have killed dozens, including 18 people at another aid distribution site. CBC's Tom Perry is monitoring the developments for us from Jerusalem.
Now that Iran and Israel have stopped dropping bombs and firing missiles at each other, the focus is really once again on Gaza and the continuing civilian deaths there. We saw an incident this week, 18 people killed. They'd gathered to try to get aid. This is aid that had been recovered from looters, apparently, by Palestinian police, or this special squad that was put together by Gaza's Interior Ministry to try to take back aid that had been stolen. So these people had gathered, trying to get some of this. There was an Israeli strike, and 18 people were killed. This really underlines these lingering questions about aid getting into Gaza. The Israeli government has really bypassed traditional agencies like the United Nations, really put limits on what the UN can bring in terms of aid. It's gone instead with this new group backed by Israel, backed by the United States, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. It's got a limited number of aid stations. People have to go long distances to get there, to get assistance. They have to go through areas controlled by the Israeli military, and that's led to instances where the Israeli military has fired on people. It says it's firing on suspects. It says it's fired warning shots, but the United Nations has come out with a report saying that more than 400 people have been killed lining up or gathering in these big crowds for assistance. Now, the Haaretz newspaper here in Israel published an explosive article today, quoting unnamed sources, but saying commanders and soldiers in the IDF, quoting them as saying that commanders had ordered soldiers to fire on these civilians lining up for aid to disperse the crowds, even when they weren't a threat. The IDF, the Israel Defense Force, put out really a denial of this. I'm going to read some of it. It says, "We strongly reject the accusations raised in the article. The IDF did not instruct forces to deliberately shoot at civilians." The statement does go on to say, though, that in light of recent reports of incidents of harm to civilians approaching distribution sites, the incidents are being examined by relevant IDF authorities. Tom Perry, CBC News, Jerusalem.